I didn't even want to eat. Karina went back out to the hospital. So my daughter, not having no type of medical experience or knowledge, she called me about 3 o'clock in the morning. She said, you know what, Mama? She said, Grandma, her breathing is real funny and it's bad. I said, well, I would be out there. I said, I'm going to be out there. And I'm going to be out there in a little while. As soon as I get Keyshawn on the school bus, I'll be out there. Because I knew just the night before, she had breathing problems. So I'm thinking that, well, she did so much better the next day. Just when morning come, she'll be all right. I'm not thinking that this was the last time that I would see my mother. I was so mad at the hospital because they never once called me up and told me that my mother was in danger and she was on the verge of dying. They never told me that. So as soon as my grandson got on the school bus, I called over there. I went over there to the hospital. So when I get to the hospital, then I go in and I was like really mad and upset because I was like, why wouldn't the hospital call me if my mother was so bad? So I get to the parking lot and my cousins and my daughters standing up there. So I'm fussing going into the hospital, and when I get up on the floor, the nurse had told me, she said, I'm so sorry for your loss. So again, I'm up here wondering what is she talking about? What loss? I'm like, I know my mother is not gone. My mother's not dead. So I get in there, and when I see my mother's lifeless body laying there, I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe myself because people just don't know. When my father passed, that was one part of me that had died. Now my mother is gone. So I felt like I guess I had died too. I couldn't believe it. So then after that, I don't know what happened. I guess a panic attack or whatever. Well, the doctors call it panic attack. I just know I couldn't breathe. I just could not breathe when my mother had left. So they had to take me down to the emergency room. The only thing I can remember that day is that they kept asking me, are you all right? What hurt? And I'm trying to tell them, you don't understand. My heart hurt. They like, but are you having chest pains? No, my heart is hurt. I'm hurt because my mother is gone. You don't understand that. So that night, I just felt the life being taken out of my body. I didn't want to do nothing. The next day I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do nothing. But I knew that my mother wouldn't have wanted it like that. I knew she had always gave me the strength. And like she would always say, go pray, go pray. I had to go and pray and ask God, please, really, could you help me out? I don't even know if I want to be here. And my best friend is gone. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to act. I don't know what to do. So God was like, look, I got you. I've been taking care of you so far. I got you now. So I got up and I started to really find strength. The first thing was to go to the funeral home to make my mother's funeral arrangements. Okay, when I get to the funeral home, we sat down and we made the arrangements. I had this big, lavish funeral that I wanted my mother to have, but my mother wouldn't even like that. My mother was more of a simple type of person. And I guess she said, no, we're not going to have that. Because it was we ran into another problem. When I brought the policy up there, it was my mother hadn't been in it long enough and we were still in the contestability stage. Which didn't mean, I'm not saying that didn't mean that she would not get paid. It's just that it would be delayed. But you know how business have to go on. So I'm left with, not only have my best friend left, how was I going to bury her? I said, my mother's going to have a funeral and she's going to have a nice funeral. But that's the last thing I do. Because I just felt she deserved it. For all the years and sacrifices that she made, she deserved a decent funeral. I didn't know what I was going to do. We sat there and everybody was trying to come up with notions on what we're going to do. So after first contacting my family, then I started to have to, I guess, take it out more public. And that was very hard because everybody that know my mother, they know that she was always a proud woman. My mother wouldn't have never wanted her business out like that. But I thought I had no choice. I knew my mother was going to have to get married, and I knew that we was going to have to work quickly. So I was like, Lord, what am I going to do? I stayed up all night. I called every place. I just didn't know where to go, first place to go or whatever. I called around different organizations or whatever. And the most people was telling me that they could do is that the city would provide cremation or whatever, and I just knew that wasn't even an option. Cremation couldn't have never been an option. My mother was going to get married. So when all else failed, I had again go back to God. Lord, you know that my mother deserved better than this. Please, Lord, please help me to bury her. And it was like a voice that came in and he told me, Larry, he said, don't worry about it. I got this. But, sometimes we can still get a little impatient. And after a day or whatever, I'm just like, it haven't happened yet. So he was like, didn't I tell you that I had this? Leave it alone, because it's not nothing you can do. So I went on and put it in God's hands and let it go. And the next thing I know, I was able to get a loan so I can bury my mama. My cousins came over and they told me, they's like, why are you paying all that high price at these funeral homes anyway for like the caskets?